Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
Geno Auriemma, a name synonymous with women's basketball, is no stranger to bold statements and fierce controversies. However, this time, the legendary coach finds himself caught in an unusual storm, one that questions his credibility and leaves fans puzzled. For years, Geno Auriemma was one of Caitlin Clark's harshest critics, often downplaying her chances of success in the WNBA and claiming her fans were delusional. But Clark didn't just prove him wrong, she exceeded every expectation, becoming one of the brightest stars in the league during her rookie season. Her incredible performances left fans and analysts in awe, putting pressure on her harshest doubters. In a surprising twist, Geno has shifted from skeptic to supporter, now showering Clark with such praise that it seems out of character for him.
The college career that Caitlin had ignited a tremendous amount of attention, an incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape, no question.
Is this genuine admiration, or is there something else behind this sudden shift? Rumors suggest that it could be related to a recent investment made by Geno Auriemma, a move that could have major implications for both his reputation and Caitlin Clark's future decisions. What led to Geno's drastic change of heart? In this video, we'll explore Coach Geno's words, the possible reasons behind his shift, and Caitlin Clark's role in this puzzling scenario. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Worst part about new fans, they have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
Geno Auriemma has never been shy about expressing his opinions, even if it means clashing with some of the brightest young stars in basketball. One of his most frequent targets has been Caitlin Clark. From her time playing for Iowa, Clark faced harsh criticism from Geno, and that didn't stop when she entered the WNBA with the Indiana Fever.
The delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
It all started when Caitlin Clark, one of the most sought-after young talents in the U.S., made a surprising decision. She chose Iowa over the prestigious UConn program. Geno Auriemma, who had built UConn's women's basketball program into a powerhouse for decades, was reportedly offended by this rejection. But Clark didn't just turn down his offer. She made him regret it on the court. In the 2024 NCAA Final Four, Clark led Iowa to a shocking victory over UConn, a win that solidified her as a generational talent in the eyes of fans. However, Geno remained unconvinced. Shortly after Clark's impressive performances in college, he appeared on a popular sports talk show and cast doubt on her ability to succeed in the WNBA. He mocked Clark's fan base, calling them delusional for overestimating her skills. "She's not built for the physicality of the league," Geno stated. "She's not fast enough, and her game won't tran."
But it's funny to listen to the Fever management bemoan about physical fouls anytime I bemoan about the game being too physical. There's always somebody on that staff saying that So what goes around comes.
Geno Auriemma's sharp criticisms didn't stop there. He also questioned Clark's ability to adapt to the faster pace of professional basketball, highlighting her tendency to take high-risk, deep shots. "Those circus three-pointers won't work in this league," he said, doubting whether her signature playing style could succeed against tougher, more athletic defenders. Even Diana Taurasi, a UConn legend, joined the debate, agreeing with Geno's concerns about Clark's transition. Diana made her stance clear. echoing the skepticism about whether Clark's game could truly translate to the next level.
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening.
However, Clark chose to remain silent and let her performance do the talking. And indeed, her play spoke volumes. In her rookie WNBA season, Clark delivered one jaw-dropping performance after another, averaging 19.2 points, the highest in the league, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. She led the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016, earned Rookie of the Year honors, was named First-Team All-WNBA, and broke 62 records along the way. Her stats weren't just good, they were historic. Geno's earlier criticisms quickly became the subject of ridicule. Memes flooded social media, with fans contrasting his cold remarks with Clark's spectacular plays. "How's that physicality looking now, Geno?" one tweet read, paired with a clip of Clark sinking a deep three-pointer over towering defenders. Another viral post featured a collage of Geno's harsh quotes with the caption, "This aged like yogurt." The praise for Clark grew louder with every game, and her success cast an undeniable shadow over her doubters.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie.
But here's where things get even more interesting. In recent weeks, Geno has gone from skeptic to superfan. Suddenly, he's praising Clark as a game changer and an incredible phenomenon. What could have prompted this sudden shift? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our future content. We know your time is valuable, and we truly appreciate your support. Now let's dive back into the topic.
So I love her. I think she's the best player. Forget I ever said Paige is the best player in the country. I think she's the best player of all time.
Did you ever think you'd hear Geno Auriemma, the same guy who once called Caitlin Clark's fans delusional, suddenly say she's better than Paige Beckers? Well, that's exactly what's happening. And honestly, it's making everyone rethink things. Is Geno really that impressed? Or is there something more behind this sudden admiration? Let's break it down. First up, incredible phenomenon. Yep, that's how he's describing Clark now.
Incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape, no question.
According to Geno, Caitlin Clark isn't just good, she's a once-in-a-lifetime talent who has changed the entire game. She's revolutionizing women's basketball, he recently said. Clearly, her deep three-pointers and fearless leadership are no longer seen as risky or unsustainable, but rather groundbreaking. No question about it, Geno stated. Funny how time changes things. And then there's her leadership.
A sign of a really, really good player is someone who can have an impact on the game when they don't necessarily shoot it. They can do other things to help your team win.
This is the same person who once doubted Caitlin Clark's ability to play a team-first style of basketball. Now Geno is practically putting her in the Hall of Fame for the way she elevates her teammates. He even pointed to specific moments from Clark's rookie season, saying she doesn't just make flashy plays, she makes everyone around her believe they can win. But wait, there's more. Her competitiveness.
I think the one thing they have in common is their competitiveness. You know, the way they transcend their team even. You know, it's like there isn't anything they think they can't do. You can tell, you know, Caitlin thinks there's not a shot that she can't make. There's not a play that she can't make.
Geno said that the fire in Caitlin doesn't just drive her own team, it's pushing the entire league forward. It's the kind of fire you can't teach, he shared, describing her as the embodiment of the future of women's basketball. For someone who once doubted whether she could handle the physicality of the WNBA, this is truly a dramatic turnaround. It almost feels like Geno is trying to rewrite his own history through Caitlin.
The rest of the team starts to feel like that as well. So they're dangerous not because of what Caitlin does, but what somebody like her infuses on the rest of their team. That's what's cool about it.
Finally, the real crown. Better than Paige Beckers? Yes, Geno outright admitted that Caitlin Clark has raised the bar, even compared to UConn superstar Paige. In fact, if you know anything about Geno, you'll understand that he rarely, if ever, admits anyone is better than one of his own players. This is a big deal. Fans of both players have debated for years, but when Geno himself acknowledges this, it marks a major turning point. So, why the sudden change? Maybe witnessing Clark dominate the WNBA convinced him she truly is the real deal. But not everyone is buying it. The thing is, Geno just so happens to have a significant financial stake in Unrivaled, a new 3-on-3 basketball league that's been working hard to recruit Clark. Is it just a coincidence? Perhaps. But the timing of his praise has raised some eyebrows. It almost feels like he's trying to win over the one person who could determine the success of the league and his investment.
Rival League is picking up players and they're getting ready to make a big splash in January with this league.
With this league, is Geno's newfound admiration real, or is he just playing the long game to win over Caitlin Clark? Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain. This story is just getting started. Next, we'll dive into how Unrivaled pulled out all the stops to get her on board and why they failed. Let's explore the surprising recruitment story that's been making waves. Caitlin Clark, arguably the most marketable star in women's basketball, became the focal point of an all-out campaign by the new basketball league, Unrivaled. With millions of dollars and their reputation on the line, the league did everything they could to get Clark to join. But despite their best efforts, Clark turned down the offer, and the fallout from that decision has been nothing short of dramatic.
She has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision, and it appears that answer is no.
First, what is Unrivaled for those who aren't familiar? Unrivaled is a brand new 3-on-3 basketball league aimed at providing WNBA players with a high-paying alternative to playing overseas during the off-season. Co-founded by stars like Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, the league promised six-figure salaries, equity stakes, and a faster-paced format designed to showcase individual talent. Backed by high-profile investors like NBA's Carmelo Anthony, soccer's Alex Morgan, and yes, Geno Auriemma, Unrivaled had one goal: to make a big splash in its inaugural season.
There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie. Pretty much, had him in the headlines for about a month and a half. That is Geno Auriemma, dog. I'm here to tell you, he's part owner of this league.
And who better to be the face of this league than Caitlin Clark? From the moment the league was announced, rumors swirled about Clark joining Unrivaled, with hints about her involvement dropping relentlessly on social media, including cryptic references to her iconic jersey number, 22. The hype reached a fever pitch when the league promised game-changing announcements during their roster reveal. Fans were convinced Clark would headline the league, but when the dust settled, there was no Caitlin Clark. Instead, the league unveiled 34 of its 36 players, leaving 2 wildcard spots open. Fans immediately cried foul, accusing Unrivaled of using Clark's name to generate buzz without securing her commitment. One fan tweeted, "That was the most disgusting bait and switch I've ever seen."
Obviously, they've tried to do everything they could to make the most of the situation. They tried to make the most of Caitlin Clark not playing by hinting everything and basically making people think that Caitlin Clark was going to play.
So why didn't Clark join? According to sources, Unrivaled offered Clark a contract worth over $1 million, an unprecedented amount in women's basketball for an 8-week season. But Clark turned it down. Her reason? She had been going non-stop since her senior season at Iowa, transitioning directly into her historic WNBA rookie campaign. Taking some time to rest and recharge seemed more important to her than the glitz and glamour of Unrivaled. The failure to land Clark has cast a shadow over Unrivaled's launch. Fans are skeptical, and analysts are questioning whether the league can succeed without the star power Clark would have brought. As for Geno, his investment in the league is starting to look riskier by the day, and when Clark officially confirmed she wouldn't be joining, let's just say his reaction didn't go unnoticed.
It'll look like Geno Auriemma could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league.
When Caitlin Clark officially turned down the Unrivaled league, the news hit like a ton of bricks, not just for fans, but especially for Geno Auriemma. As an investor in the upstart league, Geno had more than just pride riding on this. Without Clark, Unrivaled was missing the star power it desperately needed to make a splash in its inaugural season. And Geno's reaction? Let's just say it wasn't subtle.
We'll see how Unrivaled does without Caitlin Clark. They could still succeed, but we know what it would have meant if they had secured her on one of those rosters.
Sources close to the situation revealed that Geno was visibly frustrated when Caitlin Clark's decision to turn down Unrivaled became public. While the league continued to hype up its roster reveal, the absence of Clark loomed large. Social media buzz fizzled, and analysts began questioning Unrivaled's ability to gain traction without the one player who could attract casual fans. Losing Caitlin Clark was a massive blow, with one commentator saying, "She's not just a player, she's a brand," and that brand just said no. After years of criticism from Geno, her refusal felt like poetic justice. It was a reminder that even the biggest names in the game have the power to rewrite the narrative.
I know some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as to stick it to the people who treated her poorly. And
what does this mean for Unrivaled's future? The league's business model was heavily reliant on marquee names like Caitlin Clark to attract sponsors and viewers. Without her, the wildcard slots, originally a clever marketing strategy, now seem like a last-minute scramble to fill gaps. Critics are questioning whether the league's ambitious plans, like offering six-figure salaries and equity stakes, are sustainable without a major star like Clark. Without her star power, Unrivaled's ability to attract attention and succeed in its inaugural season is now in serious doubt. The future of the league hinges on finding another player to fill that void.
I gotta ask you a basketball question. Yeah. I know that you work really hard in the off-season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on in this off-season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. You don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room, so that's what I've tried to focus on the most here. And then obviously, a lot of things on the court. I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me, and I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very fortunate that it's my job.
Caitlin Clark's decision to snub Geno Auriemma and the Unrivaled League is more than just a headline. It's a defining moment in women's sports. It's a clear reminder of her growing influence, not just as a player, but as a cultural icon. By saying no to Unrivaled, Clark has drawn a firm line between her priorities and the relentless demands of basketball stardom. But beyond the individual drama, this is part of a larger shift in women's basketball. Players like Clark are rewriting the rules, showing they have the power to shape their own narratives and set new standards for what it means to be an athlete today. Her decision sends a powerful message. Players have agency, and no amount of money can dictate their choices. In her case, she's choosing rest, recreation, family, and preparation for her second WNBA season, along with a whole lot of golf. It's a new era where athletes define their own paths, on their terms.
Unfortunately, for some, unfortunately, if you just like Caitlin Clark playing, she's not going to be playing. But at least it means it's less likely she gets injured before the WNBA season.
For Caitlin Clark, the future couldn't be brighter. With her sights set on an even bigger sophomore season in the WNBA, she's poised to elevate both her game and her impact to new heights. Off the court, her influence continues to grow, cementing her as a household name who transcends basketball. Clark's success is reshaping how athletes are viewed, not just in sports, but in the larger cultural landscape. Meanwhile, the path forward for Geno Auriemma and Unrivaled is far less certain. Can the league recover and find its footing? Or will Clark's rejection serve as a cautionary tale for investors who place too much weight on one star? The future of Unrivaled hangs in the balance, and it's unclear whether the league can attract the attention and talent it hoped for. One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Caitlin Clark continues to dominate the headlines, both on and off the court, leaving everyone, Geno Auriemma included, watching and waiting to see what she does next. As fans, we can't wait to see where her journey takes her. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.